Hello, beautiful alchemists. Welcome to my channel. For those new here, this is Elina. I'm an energy worker, I'm an intuitive, I'm a medium, and I welcome you here. For those not new here, welcome back, my loves. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that I find, even though almost everybody is complaining about it in the spiritual community, not a lot of people speak about how to address this topic, and those who do, I notice that they address this topic with a little bit too much negativity for my liking. So I would like to go ahead and offer my perspective on how to no longer absorb the energy of other people around you. Especially, I'm coming to you with this video after just yesterday. I had a very interesting healing session with a friend, quite frankly. I wasn't planning on doing anything for the day, but I spoke with a friend, and she had been battling heavy depression, confusion, like all sorts of very weird things for 2 weeks. And she was like, I'm at my wits' ends. I don't know what's going on with me. And I said, to me, when I tune into your energy, it feels like you need a good clearing. Come on over, come to my studio. Let's get you cleansed. Let's do some process. Let's do some ritual. Let's see what's happening. And what I ended up clearing from her was one of the heaviest psychic attacks that I've seen in a while. And it wasn't even directed to her from a particular person or whatever, but it was like an energy that basically she had given permission to be receiving. And that was a collective energy. And I see more and more of that lately, not just with clients, but I see this a lot in the world. Like, let's say you go out at a mall, which a mall or a shopping center or even downtown, these are places I find myself no longer going because I feel like the energetic material is so dense. Unless I have a reason to go for real and there's no other way for me to avoid it, then I find myself really protecting my energy by not exposing myself to the bulk of the energy of most people right now, because I feel I can see this, I can feel this. People are suffering from this kind of energy that right now is in the collective. It's not just now. It's not just that I'm observing it now. I hear a lot of fellow energy workers. They're like, I sense that right now the energy is particularly dense. I have to disagree. I remember I started feeling a really, really heavy load. It's 2017, 17, 18, it got really bad again. It had like this incredible spike. And since then, for me, it's been constantly learning how to strengthen my own light body. And I have figured out a few things in the process. I've drawn some conclusions that when I follow, I see it makes a great difference for me. And so I wanted to share these things here too, because particularly if you have to do with, let's say, your own clients, like if you are doing something that you either have to do with a lot of people, as I mentioned, like I don't go where there's crowds and stuff like that, because then I have to come back home, I have to cleanse most of the time. And I noticed that just now I'm starting to not have to do that because I've hit, but doing it for maintenance. But there was a time that I would have to clear myself after I got back from a crowd because it was so intense what I had received that I couldn't bear it. I have seen great difference for me by following these things that I'm going to share with you here on this video today. But if you are a person, and I understand a lot of people, you just don't have a choice. You have to go to work. You have to go to wherever you work, and maybe you have to deal with a lot of people. You are someone who, as I said, you have clients, you have people who are coming to you for solutions. You are people who are counting on your input or your assistance to help them feel better, do better, some services, some products. Even within your own family, a lot of people are still living with their families. Families are also hubs of very complicated interpersonal relationships that can add to the energetic load that we end up receiving or participating in. And so I want to talk a little bit about something that I hear a lot of people say about the age of Aquarius, like Pluto in Aquarius. As of, I think, January 22nd or so, Pluto moved out of Capricorn, that it had been there for almost like 15, 16 years, since 2008, and moved into Aquarius. It is a generational shift. It is a change of the guards in a lot of ways, but I want to highlight something. A lot of people see the Pluto in Aquarius as the time that now all of our problems are going to be fixed. Power to the people. Pluto rules power and Aquarius rules the people, crowds. These very, very pinpointing one or two things. Pluto also rules a lot of different things. Aquarius also rules way more things than just crowds and audiences and the people. I'm mentioning this because this is what I hear a lot in the spiritual channels and communities around. Power to the people. Pluto is now in Aquarius. Great. We're going to have a great time. Where I want to put a little bit of attention on Pluto means power, but only after it has made you acknowledge and look at and work through disempowerment. That's how you come to power with Pluto. You first get so broken down so as to understand all of the pieces, all of the different components that made you disempowered. And through that, you understand, you're like, this and this and that I have been doing, and I have been giving my power away. Okay, so now I get it. So now I can take my power back. And that's how you come to power with Pluto. So just because Pluto went into Aquarius, it doesn't mean that suddenly now we are gonna have it easy. No, now if anything, us, the people, we're gonna have to examine really deeply our own shadows, our own shortcomings in regards to how do I give my power away? Why do I give my power away? Where can I catch it? Where can I stop it? And if we look at it from this lens of Aquarius ruling crowds, we have to understand, how do I give my power away in a group? In the group where I want to belong, in the group where I am with others. This is the time to heal relational trauma. Relational trauma is trauma that has come through relationship with other people, with the other. You know how a lot of times spiritual seekers, spiritually oriented people, we end up in our bubbles, in hermit mode, because there is a lot of trauma actually that is under the surface. Not only, I have to say that it's also about where you feel the resonance of okay, this matches, so I'm gonna go here. Differently, if it doesn't match, spiritually inclined people do tend to say, this doesn't vibe with me, so I'm just going to remove myself from it. And yes, we have such a rich inner world that we don't necessarily have a problem spending time in solitude. Solitude doesn't mean loneliness for us. And I'm sure you can relate if you're here on this video. But exactly, relational trauma is something that we nevertheless will have to look at, because that may be the main wound, the main thing that has been causing us to give permission to receive heavy, low, dense energy from the collective. And thus we end up having phenomena like psychic attack, not from a specific source, but just by having said yes, having allowed ourselves to become enmeshed with an energy that is currently hovering in the collective, in the ethers. And someone who helped me a lot, I know I mentioned Ralph so many times when I'm talking about such issues, but it is because Ralph McIntyre, my friend, astrologer, and master healer, he is absolutely amazing in intuitively also going in and looking with your birth chart to see where are your weak spots and strengthening you exactly then. And alone through working with Ralph and while doing my own protocols and my own processes, I have seen that this is the number one thing. When I, even yesterday when I sat with my friend and I cleared her energy, we did a very, very deep cleansing ritual. And it's so interesting to me how I have had to deal with this myself. And sometimes if I'm not careful, or if I'm still learning, because, every time you are absorbing other people's negative energy and you're like, oh crap, I absorbed other people's energy and now I feel crap. that's an opportunity for you to learn. That's showing you a blind spot that you are now being called to become aware of. So I wouldn't feel judgmental or bad if you are still absorbing other people's energy, because this is something that your path is guiding you to, so that you learn more and grow from that. So for example, I see that when people have clearings, like when I'm working on them, if they have been like absorbing energy, you see it even in their faces. Like, my friend came in and I was like, let me look at your face. And she looked like another person. Like the eyes it was like a cave of depression and loneliness. And that's not like my friend. She is like the sunshine. She is like amazing energy always. And when I see her, my heart expands with love. She has this love frequency very prominent, and that brings it out of me as well. For me, I'm very attuned into the subtle things that energetically I pick up from other people, also in the form of emotional elevation or dissension. So I looked into her eyes and I was like, that's not you. So let's clear it. And, we hadn't even finished we did the first round of our clearing, and immediately, her eyes, they were different, it's like the life was back into her eyes. And this is something that I notice a lot. So if you have absorbed energy of other people and you could be wondering if this depression or if this anger or whatever is yours, look yourself in the mirror. If you look different than what you usually look, that's not yours. That's something you have absorbed, okay? It's also important to understand and to discern a little bit, like, is it ours or is it something that we have absorbed? But we always absorb because this energy that we have absorbed, it has found something inside of us to come and click with, right? When there's a similarity in energy, it comes and it clicks. So here is where the deep, deep lesson is, to look at what you are feeling, try to give it a name. If you can name it, you have power over it, not because of some metaphysical reason necessarily, but because you know it, you understand it. You can go from I feel crap to, okay, make it specific. I feel it here. Okay, what is it? It's like sad, kind of like betrayed. It's like, and it's also in the throat. I feel like I want to scream. I feel like if it had a voice, it would say, this is unfair. Okay. Whom did you meet in your day who maybe you were speaking about things like that, or you heard them, they were dealing with something in their lives that they wish they could have screamed, like, this is unfair. Or in cases like walking through a crowd, you don't even know where you could have picked it up from. But a little bit, some things to kind of like start with, because knowledge is power over here. You have to follow the crumbs and understand the signature, the energetic signature of that energy you have picked up. And then it's time for a little bit of shadow work. It's time to understand that this energy has come in, you have allowed it in to help you acknowledge something similar that you may have inside of you and that needs integration, or alone to acknowledge it and to say, yeah, I can relate to that, or I had a time in my life where this and that happened to me and I felt like I wanted to scream, this is fucking unfair, but I wasn't allowed to. And so I buried it and I pretended that, that doesn't bother me. I'm fine. I'm moving on in my life. Oh, and do I have a little bit of pain in my arm? Where is that coming from? Okay. So my friend yesterday, I followed the crumbs with her. And even while working on her energy, I realized it was coming all the way from down here, lower lungs. When I was tuning into that, her own body consciousness gave me the message that it's deep-seated old grief about, I want to scream, I want to say, specifically for my friend, it was like, nobody gets me, nobody understands me. And that was from a very old time in her life where, in childhood, all of that stuff, alongside with the healing, like if you can go to a healer, if you can do energy healing on yourself, or even find ways to soothe the depression or how you're feeling, that's important, right? Start by trying to soothe this energy. Once you have named it, what is the antidote? What is the remedy? What is the opposite? If it's depression, if it's stress, whatever, it's like maybe you need to have a sound healing, like put headphones on, listen to brain waves. Alpha brain waves, they usually resolve a vast variety of imbalances in energy. Alpha, like between 9.5 or 10.5, these are great. And so after you've done that, you can ease, this energy starts to scatter a little bit, and then you start working with it. And alone, having my friend acknowledge that, yeah, that's from that time in my life, I understand. That was the energy, the similar energy that other energy found. It was like, oh, that's similar, let's click. At this point, I do want to say this, you guys, there is a lot of dense material hovering in the collective. This is not a hell planet, not a prison planet, but it's definitely a planet under siege in terms of there is always, it's a polarity, it's a duality. There's always light and there is always darkness, so to speak. There's always that which is trying to be of healing, of help, of life. That's their life impulse. And there's always the death impulse. And without the one, the other couldn't exist, right? But because I wouldn't go in depth to say why, but for certain reasons, the death impulse is a lot pushing in a way that I feel since many years now it's just culminating. I feel like it is our job to not just be mindlessly walking around in this life, but to see how can I be mindful of the integrity of my energy, as in, is this really me? Is this an energy that I'm receiving? Like these thoughts, these negative thoughts, you're sitting there and all of a sudden you have like these negative thoughts hitting you. Where is that coming from? Same as you're sitting there and you have a beautiful thought. Where is that coming from? So there are streams of consciousness of all sorts of types. And so it is up to us to discern each time what thread of consciousness it is that we are tapping in. And if we have tapped into something that we don't appreciate in this moment, how we can, on demand, shift into another one that helps us, that aligns better with the intentions we have for our life and for our part in this world. So something I have seen that puts us in a position where we are giving our permission to dense, dark, sometimes even, yes, demonic, stay with me, energy that is hovering from the collective, that is an emanation of the collective unconscious, quite frankly, or the collective darkness, the collective suffering. Remember, this is a world that is still figuring out how to do things. There's a lot of suffering out there. This is all energy that is looking to feed from something, because it's not part of the life impulse. So it is not self-restoring. It's not infinite. It's not infinitely recreating itself. It's a finite, a closed circuit, which means whatever energy is in there, once it has been consumed, that's it. It's been consumed. So then it has to find something else to live on, to restore its energy. It's a little bit parasitic, quite frankly. And I find it interesting that back in the day when I was studying like esoterica really deeply, I bumped on something called the Tree of Life. And it kind of boggles me why there's like two versions of the Tree of Life. One is the one that is pushed and put out a lot, especially in spirituality. Like you see it, it's everywhere, on clothes, on posters. It is branded as the Tree of Life, the flower of life, whatever. But this is actually a symbol of the finite, closed system. This is actually the death impulse representation. And there is another one, which is actually the original true flower of life, which is a circuit that is not closed, it's not finite, it is infinite, it is self-sustaining because their energy is recycled. It is, when the one circle is done, it starts from a start. Energy doesn't vanish, it just gets brought back to life. It's constantly living, constantly evolving, never dying. And I find it interesting how in the consciousness of people en masse right now, the finite closed circuit symbol is being pushed as the flower of life, the tree of life. But anyways, as I said, this dense energy is parasitic. And so it only makes sense that it seeks to latch onto something. So when we come across with this kind of energies in the collective, wherever, if we give permission, then the parasitic energy will come and latch, and then we have absorbed negative energy. If we don't give permission, it cannot click. Why do we give permission? Because there is unconscious material that we don't see. It's like in a blind spot. And so it operates without us consciously being aware of it. And that's why it's important, if we want to stop absorbing other people's energy, that we delve into uncovering, acknowledging, healing, processing, neutralizing, integrating trauma. And in this regard, especially relational trauma. How do we give our power away and why? Especially when it comes to other people, groups. This is such a sign of our times in the sense that what you're hearing is constantly like the empaths or the highly sensitive people being like, I can't stand crowds. Well, why, my love? Is there a way you are maybe giving your power away to the crowd? There's a difference to not like to be somewhere because it doesn't resonate. You don't feel like this is your thing and thus choosing to stay away. And there's a difference when you say, I can't. I just can't. Even if I had to, I couldn't. It would knock me out in such a way that it makes it impossible for me. So in these cases, we really need to look at the blind spots in regards to unprocessed energy. And that's why it's important that every time you realize I've been hit by a psychic attack or I have absorbed, let's say, negative energy or energy from other people, that you make yourself acquainted with that. Welcome it as something that has come to make you aware of a blind spot of yours. And so sit down with it, journal on it, that very emotion. Where have you seen it? Where is it from? What is the antidote? What does it want to say? What kind of aspect inside of you is it clicking with? And that aspect of you, what does it want to say? How does it want to be heard? What are its needs? What happened to it? What did it need back in that time and it wasn't given? What can you give it now that you see it, that you acknowledge it? What could you tell that aspect of yours to make it understand that it is safe? Like yesterday for that friend of mine, I was literally doing energy work, just massaging into her consciousness that this statement that she had, that nobody gets me, massaging into her consciousness that, hey, that was then, doesn't have to be forever, and it's not even now. Don't you have me? Aren't you sitting with me right now? Don't you have that person and that person? Sure, there's this and that person that they don't get you, but they are not the only people in your life. Look, there is change. Look, there is proof that that was then, doesn't have to be now, doesn't have to be your future. What I was actually doing was I was connecting with the energy in her system that was held by that aspect of hers that was coming, quite frankly, from her childhood. Of course, we need to see how it goes, if you still need to do more sessions or more consistently over time to keep on massaging this new information into the consciousness. But this is where you start. How do you massage the new information into your consciousness? Repetition. Just like those who put into your consciousness the wrong information, they were just repeating and repeating these things, and even using physical like punishment or whatever to insert that into your consciousness, the same thing is the remedy. That's how you reverse the damage. So you keep on repeating. Every time these thoughts come back into your head, you repeat, no, it doesn't have to be this way. Look, I have this and this and that. That is even proof. Or if you don't have proof yet, because this is still, something that needs to shift from the inside so that it starts reverberating into your reality outwardly, then you dictate that. I declare in my God sovereign free power, in the name of the Christ consciousness, whatever, in the name of my higher self, I decree that from now on it is different. From now on I have this, that, I am this, that, I align with this, and that. You have to start speaking nicely, kindly, gently, saying to that aspect inside of you, which in most cases is you, let's say 5 years old or 10 years old, is usually childhood related. Or if it is in adulthood, like I had to deal a lot of times with aspects of me that were created while I was in a relationship with someone who was abusing me and was telling me a lot of nasty things. And while speaking to that version of myself, aged, 22, where I was locked in this experience and I felt like I had no way out, because I had no way out, unfortunately, at the time. I was stuck in that relationship. I had nowhere to go. Even if I wanted to, that person had taken all of my resources and used it to his benefit and behind my back. So I was stranded in a foreign country with someone who was abusive, and I had to make do. And I spoke to this aspect of me, and I showed her a picture of the future. I said, look, this is you in the future. I brought her in my mind's eye. I brought her to my current home, and I said, look, this is your home now. Look, you share it with a man who is so sweet, so princely, so beautiful, so caring towards you. He's a real king. And you, look, your body is healthy again. Look at your bank account, you're doing good. You have clients. First of all, you are doing a completely different work. You don't have to go work for this narcissist, because also my boss at the time was very interesting. And that's usually a very hard thing. Like when you find yourself in this situation, it's usually more than one thing that, was going on at that time in your life. And that's why it was trauma, because it felt like, my gosh, what is this that I've landed in and I have no way out? So it's normal that there were times in our lives where the aspects, the versions of us, they've been trapped. So pull them into the future. I have seen that this is one of the best integration techniques. Pull them into the future. If your current circumstances are not much better, still find something that they would appreciate from back then and say, look, this one, we have it like this and that. It's not like back then. Even silly things like, look, right now you don't have your parents nagging you. You can go out. Whatever. Find something. I cannot show enough examples here because I do not know what everybody's experience is going to be. And I understand this is a very thin line between saying something that can help someone and saying something that can further traumatize someone. So I'm going to leave it at that. So bring them to the future, their future, which is your present, and ask them to be here with you, to experience, to live this new life. Tell them, now this is how we do things. Now we are in charge. Now I am taking care of you. And yes, life is not perfect, but even when there are difficulties or things that are coming up that we don't like, we have way more options than back then. And you can always speak to me, you can show me how you feel, you can, show me signs, and I will listen and I will take it into account before making any decisions. That's how you end up pulling all of your aspects together in a way that integrates them, and then you are making decisions from a space where your whole self can back these decisions. And that was a great lesson actually from the tarot card, the Chariot. If you look at the Chariot tarot card, and as I'm teaching in my tarot academy on Patreon that I'm going to be launching very soon, God willing, and if everything goes as planned, the Chariot is showing exactly this. All of the different aspects of your shadow and your light, so to speak. So the conscious and the unconscious, they need to be on the same page in regards to making a decision and following through. Because if they're not all of your aspects on the same page, you're making a decision, but there's this aspect of you that is actually pulling back. And so you end up from self-sabotaging to actually manifesting situations where it's like, what the heck, I'm trying to do this, but all hell breaks loose when I'm trying to do that. All of these obstacles manifested. What's that? It doesn't mean you're on the wrong path, but it means that some of your aspects are not in the same line, are not on the same page with the goal. Now, a few other tips that I would like to speak about in regards to no longer absorbing other people's energy. Grounding techniques daily and prayer. Why? Because grounding brings you back into your body, brings you back into sensing, becoming accustomed with your energy. Most of the people are allowing themselves to absorb energy from others because they are not aware what their own energy feels like at all. Like they don't know, until where does my energy go? Where are my energetic boundaries? Here. Oh, so when I feel something here, it has come all the way in. Can I put it out? And visualizations like, for example, a cocoon of light, and or the 12-dimensional shield by Lisa Renee. These kind of container type of cocoon like techniques. These are very useful. Not in the sense that I know a lot of spiritually oriented people are like, no, I don't want to be putting protection around me because it gives the universe the signal that I'm scared and I feel like I'm under threat and I need protection. It's not about that. The protection comes not because the cocoon is the protection. The protection comes by you strengthening your understanding until like how far is my energy field? Like where do I end and you begin? Differently, if I'm not aware of that, if that's not clear to me, then there's no line. It's all a blurry thing, and so things can all the time bleed through, and then I don't even know how to put them out because I don't know where out begins. So you have a lot of people who are doing like cord cuttings all day and stuff, but nothing works. Why? Because it's not clear to them. What does my energy feel like, look like, feel like, so grounding techniques, meditation, turning inwards, that's gonna get you to be accustomed with your own energy field. And then anything else that is foreign, so to speak, that is trying to come in, you will be able to discern it and to understand, okay. I mentioned prayer. That's a really wonderful tool in the sense that you can call additional help from your helpers in spirit, your angels, guardians. We all have guardian beings around us. And whether you call it an angel or something else because of where you come from, how your culture names these things, we all have beings around us that are invested in keeping us safe. So call upon them. I literally wrote a whole book on that, so I'm not going to analyze too much on here because I sound like a broken record by now. If you want to delve deeper into how to work with your angels, how to work with the angelic realms, how to work with calling them, like petitioning, invoking them, and allowing them in to the point where you can start co-creating your whole reality with the beings that are there to help you. I've written a book. It's called The Alchemy of Angelic Invocation. You can find this book on Amazon. This is not just about me selling you that book. If you cannot afford it, shoot me an email. I'm going to send you the PDF for free. This is just about you coming across this information at all, that you get going with utilizing this, because it's important that we become aware exactly in the age of Aquarius of also what is out there. Aquarius also rules the out there. A lot of people go by default saying Aquarius ruled by Uranus rules like the outer space. So we're talking about aliens. I'm going to say how about the out there, as in dimensions that we don't necessarily perceive with our physical eyes, but nevertheless, they are there. And nevertheless, our angels, the beings in the other dimensions that are around us, we can learn to communicate with them through telepathy, through vibration, which is also ruled by Aquarius. If you look at the symbol for Aquarius, these two lines, this is all about vibration, resonance, as above, so below in a way as well, right? So connecting with what is out there, choosing what to connect with, discernment, right? Also, because Aquarius is actually a fixed sign. It likes order, it likes discernment, and it used to be ruled by Saturn. So also about boundaries, not just randomly opening up and letting in whatever. And this has nothing to do with fear, inducing fear in the spiritual practice. I'm not saying it from that, but I'm saying it from the realization that, yeah, there is a lot of things out there. You can connect with pretty much anything. If you want to do good, you can find something in that resonance to connect with. If you want to do evil, you can find something that vibrates there and you can align with that. And so being discerning, but connecting nevertheless with the divine assistance available to us out there. I also want to say on a final note that prayer as a practice creates an energetic buffer around us that makes low vibrational energies so much more difficult to come and click. You could be sensing them, but it's kind of like a buffer, like a waiting area where they go in there and they get caught in there. And so you are able to discern them. You are able to say, oh, that's what it is. And use them. Like it doesn't hit you as much that it puts you out of order, out of function. But you can pick it up and say, okay, let me delve into that. Let me do some shadow work into that. What is it coming here to teach me? What kind of unintegrated aspect within me is this energy coming to shed light on for me? Because ultimately the purpose here is to integrate as much of that shadow material. So it's no longer shadow, as in operating from the unconscious, wreaking havoc without you having power over it, because it's not, you cannot consciously like perceive it even. But it becomes an integrated, productive part of you. You can use it productively. And therefore, eliminating more and more of this shadow, the light quotient that we are able to hold, the amount of light we're able to hold in our being, it expands and expands. And that ultimately determines the kind of timelines that we are able to align with. As a final note, before I go ahead and close this video, I would like to talk about something that I used to do with my clients that was costing me greatly. I used to absorb the energy of my clients like all the time, and it was just driving me crazy because really it was throwing me out of order in the sense that I couldn't get back to work. I needed like a month alone in the forest to recalibrate. And actually, the one who pointed out to me was a student of mine who was a retired Reiki master. So he was himself very perceptive, and he called me out a little bit on that because he was able to catch that I was doing that. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so obvious now that you're actually pointing it out. What I was actually doing was I was trying to control the experience of my clients to the degree that I was giving my power away to them. And thus, it was allowing for energetic enmeshment that had me absorbing so much dense material. And because back then I wasn't so good at learning how to let things pass through me, I had to sit with that hot potato of energy, take a lot of time away from everybody until my body, my energy body as well, would manage to neutralize, alchemize that energy. Because that's what happens, right? When you receive it, you either, because, you know, it can happen, you either have to learn how to pass it through you, ground it, send it into the Mother Earth. That's a great practice you can do. Go out in nature, put your hands on the ground, through the fingers, visualize and say and decree, I give all of this excess energy now to the Mother Earth to transmute it and alchemize it in the highest good of all, and really shoot it into the core of Mother Earth. So I didn't know back then how to do this so well. This is something that start doing it every day a little more, and you will see that your ability to do this, your intention is going to become so strong, you will be able to pass things through you like in an instant, just thinking about it, like So I wasn't so good back then at it. So I had to spend a lot of time resting, allowing my body to chew this energy, break it down, neutralize it, alchemize it, transmute it. So I used to be like this when my clients were coming, and how awesome, you're doing great, that's fantastic, in a way that, you know, my objective was to make them feel safe, to make them feel good about themselves, because I do believe so much in positive reinforcement. And that's something that I continue to do. It's just that now I do it from a more authentic place. I don't feel like I have to be dancing around like a clown in order to make my students or my clients feel good. If they're not feeling good, that's all right. Let's honor that. If they don't like my course, my class, that's all right. They have every right also to not like it and to potentially even like just exit and never come back. What's wrong with that? But back then, something that was a blind spot for me was that if they would choose to not come back, that it would mean something negative about me. And no, that can't happen. We need to be perfect in everything we do. We need to like always make other people be happy, because if they're not happy, it means I'm responsible for that. It's my fault. This, of course, was coming from a childhood with very complicated adults that I literally had to become what they wanted me to be so as to avoid severe punishment. I grew up with people who were raising me up to the sky only to, you know, throw me back down for leaving my glass on the table. So severe breaking of the soul, like saying some very nasty things, like your whole worth and value could be destroyed in a moment. And for something so insignificant, it was things like, you disgust me, I'm sick of you, I don't want to see you in front of me, disappear from my eyes, I don't want to know you, you're not my child. Now you understand that the person that was telling me these things, it was coming from an anger that they weren't able to express. There was no safe space for them, it wasn't okay, and also they couldn't express it towards the person they had the anger with. And so I was in front of them, I was the one receiving that. So you understand, that was my response to anger, uncontrollable emotions. So the intention here was to pacify, to be like, everything's all right, everything's okay. And so when it came to my students, I realized that's what I was trying to do, to pacify, to be so pleasant that they wouldn't have any reason to have a bad experience. So I was trying to control their experience, make them have a great experience. And on a surface level, I thought that, oh yeah, that's my intention because I care for them. I want them to have a good time. Yes, but as you see, there was also something darker underneath that. And the reason why I'm saying this story is not necessarily to be like, oh, poor me, I had a difficult childhood or whatever. But to be like, look, sometimes you have to look at things and go back at looking at things that were very, very unpleasant. And to come up with the understanding that, oh, look at that. I had actually a double motive. It wasn't just the light side of my motive. There was also a side of that motive of mine that actually was based on trauma, and I wasn't aware of that. So that's the point. The thing that is not aware is where you lose the energy from. The thing that you are not aware is the thing that you are giving permission from to absorb the negative energy of other people. When I work towards understanding that if I want to control the experience of people so that they have a good experience, let that be really, truly just from my intention for them to have a good experience. And just that, not from my trauma that says, please, 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 don't be mad at me. Please, 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 don't be angry. All right? Also, something that helped was releasing my own anger, like anger that I had for all of the times that, I wasn't able to even respond to that anger by setting a boundary. Because when you're a child, you can't set a boundary. When you have a crazy parent also, who is so unpredictable with how violent they can become when you even speak back, you don't set boundaries, you don't fight back. So this, there's the fight or flight, right? And the anger is really also like the fight. I'm gonna fight you back. Why are you mean to me? So no, this had been suppressed, and when it's suppressed, this is also a big reason for depression, because the solar plexus energy center, it becomes so clogged with no, just swallow it, it's not safe for you. So when I did at some point a process that is very simple, quite frankly. I was just punching pillows and bringing back the memory and just screaming, F you, F no, F off, and saying the things that this aspect of me back then would want to be able to say. Like, whoa, you are overstepping. Whoa, you are a terrible person. Whatever, like to express these things. I ended up coming in touch with a part of me that is so monster-like. Not generally, but knowing that this is inside of me, and if I had to fight back, if I had to defend myself from someone crazy again, I could tear them apart. They would need to rehabilitate themselves seriously. Their whole life would be changed if they tried to harm me. And so alone, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna use this, because I could say I'm a peaceful person generally. But it was before, I wasn't even in touch with this aspect of me. It had become something that, anger, no, we don't do that. No. If someone hurts me, I will cry, but I will not fight them back. And so it also resulted into me trying very, very heavily to control other people's experience so that they are happy, so that they don't harm me. All good. So now I know that I could bite someone's ass off. And having come in touch with this aspect of me has allowed me to relax. Like, not feel the need to control other people's experience, because I know that even if shit goes down, what are they gonna do? They're gonna be angry at me? Okay, bring it on. They're gonna not come back anymore? Fine, I'll find someone else. Just something to think about, because I understand a lot of people in the spiritual path have found the spiritual path because they have been identifying with an identity that completely threw emotions such as their own anger out of the window, or the ability that anger often gives to defend yourself, and so able to guarantee your own sense of safety. And that puts us often in the dynamic that we do everything in our power so that others have a great experience, so that they don't punish us. And that ends up draining us. You come back home at the end of the day and you're like, I can't be around people. Why? Were you authentic around them? Or were you acting in a way where you were actually tippy-toeing and trying to be the most pleasant sunshine so that they will have a good experience, so that they don't come after you? I'm saying this again. A lot of spiritual people, we grew up in very traumatic circumstances. Violence was part of it, anger, putting us down, really destroying our soul with nasty words and nasty deeds. And so a lot of us, we thought, that's not okay, I'm not gonna be that. But we discarded anger and the fire energy altogether just because we saw someone abusing their fire energy. It doesn't mean that this is the only way you can use fire energy. See, you can be using it also to defend when it is the right time to defend. But because we saw people lashing out uncontrollably, the uncontrollable fire is destructive. And we said, I don't want to be that. So we completely disowned our fire. And that left us vulnerable to the point where we give our power away to people by changing our behavior so as to have them have a good time and not lash after us. Because if they lashed at us, we know I couldn't defend myself, because defending means fire, and fire is not what I do. See? So integration, because if not integration, then you are sitting there and you have given your power away to the other person, and it's not just that you go back home feeling drained, is that you are giving permission for whatever low vibrational energies of that other person or of the collective to come and lash in. Because the message to the universe is, I will not defend, there's no boundaries here. Whatever you want. And so there's a parasitic energy that comes in and is like, whatever I want to feed off of you. And we say, yes. So it's very important, my loves. I understand this became a long video, but I really needed to go in depth and explain these dynamics as I have observed them in my journey as a person privately and as an energy healer with and for my clients as well. I used to be absorbing other people's energy so much to the point that I even manifested a physical illness. Again, integrating energies allowed me to set better boundaries, and I don't even have that illness anymore, which was chronic and incurable, and nobody knew what it did to help me. So I want to say this, it's never just one thing. As you see throughout this video, everything that I spoke about, it is a combination of things. Go ahead, use them all, and you will have a shield that is not a shield as in, I need it because I'm under attack. This is a healthy, energetic body with healthy, energetic boundaries. And this is something that I understood more deeply through that illness that I mentioned, that along with other symptoms, one of the symptoms was leaky gut. What leaky gut is literally the wall linings of your gut. It becomes permeable. It starts having holes or being so thin that toxins from your gut, they end up going into the bloodstream. And so you're getting poisoned. And so you're having fatigue, headaches, allergies, pains, like even arthritis, inflammation, all sorts of things, even eye defects. It was insane. And so I realized that's the same thing. My body is showing me a physical manifestation of what is happening on an energetical level. My energy body, because of all of the things that we spoke about, trauma, all of these things, how it can affect us, I don't have a clear picture and a clear boundary of this is me, and from here on, this is you. No, it was like a permeable thing, and so things were coming in and out, and so there was the poisoning of the energy. And if you look at it also when you absorb negative energy or energy from other people, these are also quite often the symptoms: headaches, feeling fatigued, feeling drained, depressed, not having vitality, pains, inflammation. So my loves, these are some things to think about, and I hope you go ahead and implement a lot of these, because especially if you work with other people, let's say you work at a bar, let's say you work at the reception of a hotel, let's say you are a secretary and you're picking up phone calls all day, let's say you're a teacher, let's say you are, a service provider, whatever. Unless you're a gardener where you have to do with trees all day, I think most of the other things that people are going out there and doing, it involves relationship with other people. And Pluto in Aquarius has come to look at us at all the ways we are disempowering ourselves in connection with the other. And that's why you see so many people right now are suffering and are complaining about, I can't with other people's energy. I need to stay alone because other people's energy, I'm so sensitive, I get it. But it's the time that we look at what is disempowering us, because through that we're going to come to the power that Pluto wants to take us to. It's making it so difficult, so that divine discontent is going to force us to pivot towards, okay, I see it now. what do I need to do? As a last note, I want to say this. I see people everywhere, like driving their cars, walking on the street. I see people having so much energy that they have absorbed from right and left. It's something that is rampant because it's the very structure and culture of our society that it's all based on you giving your power away so that someone doesn't lash out on you. It's all about that. If you're giving your power away, you're gonna be okay with everybody. And then, it's either this group of people and there's the group of people that everybody is trying to keep them pleased because differently they transform into a monster, So it's these two, and then there's a little group that now hopefully is starting to, become more and more popular, which is those who say, stop. I'm actually empowering myself by understanding where I've been giving you my power. Sorry, not gonna do that. Not gonna allow parasitism also. And what I find most interesting is that you cannot talk about such a topic, like this discussion that we just had in this video, you cannot speak about it to 99% of the people out there. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. They're either going to try to hyper intellectualize this information into like psychology, like just psychology, the sterile kind of psychology that just says, this, 1 + 1 = 2, and the rest I cannot explain it, so it's not valid. Or they're going to completely say that stuff doesn't exist. There's whole demographics of people that just ignore that there is a reality beyond the reality that we see, that there is a layer beyond just the physical, what you can touch, and that on an energetical level, in a lot of ways, our work lies if we want to create a better world. So thank you for having listened to me. Thank you for acknowledging that there is a reality beyond the reality that we see. And with Pluto in Aquarius, the out there, the beyond what we can see, this is where we will have to play ball from now on for the next 20 years for sure. Wow. I love you all very much, and I hope this video was useful. Share it with whoever you feel they are battling right now with the energy of the collective and everything else. And give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments any other tools that particularly have helped you with no longer absorbing other people's energies. This video here was my perspective, and I leave you with all of my love. Goodbye for now. I hope to see you soon again here on Elina's Alchemy. Until then, be blessed.